she's coming over right now. Her son got here. Yeah. Once again, everybody, thank you so much for coming to share my mother's life. I am Chuck, the youngest son. My mother lived here for nearly 35 years. She would have been 82 this September. She had a lot of barbecues, and I think everybody has been to one of them at one time, or many of them at one time or another. And so we thought it was just fitting to have one last tribute to her and have it here in the backyard. I just wanted to introduce the rest of the family, and again, I'm Chuck, I'm the youngest. This is my partner John, and then this is my older brother Neil, my oldest brother Jerry. This is his wife Jackie. He passed away the day after Christmas this year. So, and then they have all their kids and the grandkids and stuff, and they're going to have them all stand up and everybody can say something.
And you didn't introduce Penny.
Well, this is Penny, my brother's wife, and their kids are out here too. So go ahead.
Justin, you and Stephanie stand up with your kids. That's our oldest there. Stephanie, Sam, Betsy, and Dan. And then right here we have Skylar and Ender, and his girlfriend Paulina.
And then my two boys are here. One couldn't make it, but the other two are here. Steven and his daughter Allison, and Brent and his wife Candace, and their children David and Kendra.
And then we also have sister-in-law Donna and her husband Ben. And then we've got various other family members and stuff here too. We're going to go ahead and show the video of her life.
Skylar put it together for us.
My nephew Skylar put it together, and it's got 3 of her favorite songs on it. And then if anybody would like to get up and say anything or talk, we would really appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and start the video.
Yep.
A couple of things you saw in there was my parents' 50th wedding anniversary that we had here in the backyard. My mother's 80th birthday a couple years ago that we had here in the backyard. The ones that you saw in the mountains, that was when we went to spread my father's ashes last year. So, that's what we're also going to do with my mother, is take her to the mountains and spread her ashes.
Anyway, we're glad you all came. We wanted to do one last party in her memory. We hope we've done it on her. And we thank you all for being a part of her life.
Thank you.
Would anybody like to say anything?
If anybody wants to say anything, you can come up, say a few words. If not, hey, we're okay with that too. Oh, here comes Donna. You can always count on Donna.
Donna always has something to say.
Good.
When Bob and Wynette got married, I went to her and I said, Wynette, Dad has Bob, Mom has Kathy. I said, can I be yours? So I guess through the years, Wynette and I had our times when we were different. We had our times when we were apart. But these last few years, several last few years have been really, really wonderful. The family unity, as you can see, is there and it always will be. We loved her. And I'm sure all of you felt the same. Thank you.
And I forgot to introduce one other person a little while ago. This is my mother's sister, Cinda.
Oh, Cinda, welcome.
Hey, come on up.
I get to say whatever I want. Will you help me if I get stuck? When Ed came to live with my family when I was only about, I think maybe 6 or 7 years old, something like that. And she had met my sister Nancy, Tom's mother, at school. And I remember riding the school bus and Nancy always sitting with this new person in our lives. And at the time, Winette was living in a foster home, a farm not too far from our farm. And the woman who had been taking care of her, along with some other young girls, became ill and wasn't going to be able to care for them any longer. And Nancy, Tom's mother, came home and said to my parents, well, I have this new friend and she is not going to have a home soon, and I think she should come live with us. So that's how she became my sister. And what was amazing about her was that she bonded with our family in such a way that you would have never known she wasn't a full biological sister. Even though I could say she was my foster sister, she was in every possible way to Nancy and I, she was a sister, and she was absolutely wonderful to my parents as they aged. She couldn't have been any more so had she, and you know, for many years we didn't spend a lot of time together because I moved away to the Northwest. Nancy and her family moved away to the Northwest. So it was only on family occasions that we would get together. Either they would travel north or we would come down here. And some of those in the last few years have been very meaningful to me, to be able to be with her and share stories. And it was, of course, hard to see her become ill and not be able to get around. But I always loved playing bridge with her. She was one of the sharpest bridge players ever. And just a wonderful person. And I think it's a testimony to her that this diverse crowd is here. She was family to many of you.
I think we can all say on that.
Anybody else like to say anything? Let me introduce. This is Deborah. Deborah was an exchange student in high school that lived with my parents.
1984?
1989. So, Deborah is originally from Spain, and she has remained a very close member of this family ever since.
Whether they want to or not. I just want to say that I think it's fair that I share what Winnie and Bob and Winnie today has meant in my life, because I think that many of you know me as the exchange student, that Bob and Winnie had this crazy idea, and then they could never get rid of me. But Winnie has been a person that really, truly, when you hear this idea that family is not always blood related necessarily, and you know when you have close people in your life, but Winnie, in my life, put that in a total different level. She was my family. Like, I can't conceive of any other word. When I think about her in my mind, she's my family as my mother or my father is that are in Spain. I mean, she is truly, really family. what she did for me, the way she opened her house to me and her home to me, has really meant that I was so at home here that I kept coming every year. I came for graduate school, and I met my husband, and I never went back, and I live in the United States, and it's all for that reason. So this is how deeply they changed my life, and Winnie changed my view of women, and I think she was one of the most powerful women that I know. I think that she was one of these truly feminists, whether she knew it or not, because she never, things were done Winnie's way, and things were done the good way, and she rocked. So she was one of these figures when you're becoming a woman, when you're 16, 17, and you have a woman as powerful as this to look up to, that really marks you for the rest of your life. And I wanted to share that that's what Winnie did for me.
Anybody else like to say something?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you could say from there. It's hard to hear in this wind.
Yes, it is. My name is Mary Beth Baltus, and I worked here in Winnie's house from 2010 to 2012. I spoke to many of you on the phone, so it's nice to kind of put a face with a voice. Winnie had incredible stories she told about many of you, and they're all secret. But she had great stories to tell about her friends and relatives and family. Winnie was known in the community as Winnie. You didn't need a last name. When you called someone and said, Winnie wants to speak to you, they knew who was calling. She had a phenomenal networking of people that she had known for years, and they all loved her and respected her in the business that she worked in. She wasn't a quitter. She was never going to give up. She had perseverance like I've never seen before, and she was a determined woman to keep the business going and to keep her clients happy, and I'm sure she did that till her final days.
Thanks.
Anybody else like to say anything?
Oh yeah, I will.
This is Samantha. She is my granddaughter, my oldest grandchild. So.
Many of you don't know that my Nana was, she let me stay over, my dad stay over here for a while, and it just makes me sad that she's gone.
It's okay. You're all gonna miss her. We're all gonna miss her. Samantha and her dad, Samantha and them stayed here with her for quite some time. So a lot of you have already known Samantha for a long time. So she does miss her a lot. And I go way back. Not only have I been married to Neil for 34 years, but Neil and I have been together since we were 12. So I kind of feel like she was my mother almost as long as my birth mother was. And a lot of times people ask me, what's the one thing about your mother-in-law that you remember most? And I too think she's one of the strongest women I ever knew. But her hospitality skills, I would put up to next to anybody. Martha Stewart has nothing. And as we cleaned out her home, as we're cleaning it out and packing up her things, every dish has a memory, every plate, you name it. We remember a party from this time, a party from that. And she was the hostess with the mostest. And I always remember the things she taught me over the years. And of course, I can go back to hotels all the way to 1969, but I'm not going to bore you with that. So, but she was just one of the most wonderful women I've ever known. I really did spend more of my life with her than I did with my own birth mother. So we were very close. She and Bob were very good friends with my parents as well. So now both my parents are gone, and now both Neil's parents are gone. So I think I learned from 4 great people, and I appreciate that about her.
And this is Tom. This is nephew.
Yes.
Deborah said so much of kind of the way I was feeling. Officially, Winnette was my foster aunt, but never thought of her as a foster aunt. She was just Aunt Lynette. And the biggest thing, there were several things I really found good that I enjoyed about her, is that when I moved to Oregon and came back, I had a lot of family here in Phoenix. But if you went and stayed with one of them, the other fellow relatives would be mad because you stayed with this person instead of this one. So we found that if we just came and stayed at Lynette's, we'd irritate everybody at the same time equally. And it really worked, because there were people like, well, she's not even a blood relative. We go, doesn't matter. But when we were staying with other relatives, they would really not even let you go out and enjoy Phoenix and this type of stuff. When we showed up with Lynette, she said, here's how to get into the house. We'll see you when we see you. If you need to go somewhere, go somewhere. It was the ultimate in hospitality, but it was always really nice. And one of the really things I'm happy for is right after her 80th birthday, I had never been to Canyon de Chelly or Monument Valley, and I'm not sure your mom had been or not, or if she had, it been a long time, but we went and did the whole thing, rented a Jeep and went down through Canyon de Chelly and spent that horrible drive on that road in Monument Valley and spent time at the Grand Canyon. And this was kind of a long shot, because we didn't know if her pacemaker was going to work or anything, and she did fine. And then the next year I came back. I was fortunate to be with the whole family when we went up to the White Mountains and spread Bob's ashes. But both Lynette and Bob were really good to Taya's parents and my grandparents. They would constantly come up to see Grandma. And then if she got bad, they just stayed. But if we had a family crisis, we always knew that either one of them or both of them were going to come up. And then I also always thought of Neil and Chuck as blood cousins. I wouldn't know them as anything else, too. And it's just a real pleasure to be a part of this family. So I think Grandma and Grandpa adopted Lynette, but I think the Postons adopted us, too. Everything. So. Anybody else at all? All right, well, we thank you so much for coming. She would have really appreciated everybody coming for one last barbecue and to celebrate her life. And I know that she loved every one of you, and she's going to be missed by everybody.
Absolutely.
So,
yes.
Thank you once again for coming.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, who do we give credit for the videos?
Skylar.
Did the video.
Skylar, good job, Skylar.
Yeah.
Very well done.
And the kids' balloons are going to heaven.
Kids are going to release the balloons?
The grandkids are all going to.
You wanted to have
Betsy, I'll explain it to you. Going up front?
Okay.
Oh, we went to the front.
Float over. I guess they think you better walk.
Okay. Right there on the side?
On the side?
Okay. Let him go.
Let him go.
Let him go.
Dad, I got another one, so let it go.
Can you see them anymore? Boy, they disappeared quick.
This one wouldn't go anywhere.
Just say a bit about itself, without the...
Oh, it's a lot cooler, a lot warm.
I got a new
Oh, that over there? Yeah.
Ooh, well,
It's got a bite to it, doesn't
yeah,
it?
it does. I'm ready to.
There you go. Flag.
I gotta leave.
It just cleared the house. Did it?
We'll be in China in an hour.
Yeah.
You're gone, the blue.
Are you going to let it go?
No, I already had
Oh, you already had yours. All right.
Just got another one.
Cool.
What are we watching?
They're yours to send to Grandma in heaven.
There's Nana on the TV.
I told you.